Let's go. It's go time! Poison of a Soul, thanks for the Prime sub. I appreciate the support. How's everyone doing today? Let's fucking go! Let's go! Oh! Oh! We are erasing this line. What you know about Nukitashi? Is that the manga? Anime episode drop. I haven't watched anime in a long time. Every once in a while, I'll fire up some anime of choice, and I'll feel like I'll listen to the high-pitched anime voice actresses screaming and saying cute shit, and I'm like, yeah, this is what my life missed. This is fulfilling my soul. I was always an anime coomer. I'm coming home, and then I stopped watching anime because, well, anime, while it offers like some kind of visceral, physiological reward to my body, like the actual content is extremely low calories, or low nutrition is how I would put it. It's like fucking binging on McDonald's after you haven't had enough calories, after you've been on a diet. Like when you get your first hit of that sweet, sweet blood sugar spike by listening to the anime actresses be all like, "Kya, ecchi," and shit like that, and you're like, yeah, let's fucking go. Like, I get a short-term boost of, like, psychological joy, and then I stop doing that because, you know, anime is fucking cringe. No, I just, my biggest problem with anime, I think, is that a lot of it is based on manga, but then they don't necessarily animate the entire series, or it gets abridged and shit. So a lot of the payoffs, especially like in subsequent seasons, you don't get to. And that has always bugged me, I guess. I used to only watch anime-only content, so like original anime series, but they don't even make that shit anymore, so... It's pretty hard to find, if you're going by that standard, it's pretty hard to find any like anime-only shit. I'm sad because Yokozuna Hoshoryu is Kyujo from Nagoya Basho and a lot of injuries this tournament. I mean, that's just sumo, man. At this point. It's just a sport that's so bad for your body. Also, Yokozuna, just by definition, because they don't have to retire, and they don't lose their ranks even when they're injured, they're just gonna get, you're gonna get a lot of Kyujo. I mean, look at Teruno Fuji, or previous Yokozuna, who basically had like crippling knee injuries for 99% of his career, and somehow was still good enough to win. Like, he basically kept on going. He was either injured, or then he would come back for very, very brief periods in which he would win. And then he finally retired, you know. I do think that as sports as a whole become more advanced, like people start like pushing the boundaries of their body to do like new competitive shit, and then like injuries just start to go up as a whole. As someone who's an NBA fan, like there's definitely way more like Achilles tears and shit like that right now than there used to be, and I think it's because the way that the NBA game has evolved to players fully utilizing the entire court with the 3-point shot. It means people are just like constantly running nonstop, and you have to run nonstop. And then as a result, like even young players, their Achilles are just exploding. Anime only is too much of a risk for studios. Better to adapt something that's proven already popular in print over going for an anime that flops. Just make anime for Netflix and have Netflix foot the budget with their unlimited amounts of money. Netflix will be like, we need you to make a hit anime based on this awesome video game. We just want to make sure that it appeals the largest percentage of our audience, so you have to make it so all the fans of the original content will hate it. And then Trigger will be like, sounds good. As long as the check clears our bank account, we'll make anything. Okay, this Toho mix is a little too hyperactive even for the beginning of the stream. Okay, this soundtrack is overdoing it with the river sound. It's gonna make me want to piss if I keep on listening to this. Tokyo 1981 synth waves. When I want to go fast, and by go fast I mean draw fast, I listen to synthwave nowadays. It seems to be the music I can listen to for the longest period of time without getting sick of it. And it also activates my go fast sensors in terms of drawing. I'm not sure why. Good thing YouTube has like a million of these AI generated synthwave mix for 300 hours playlists. Thank God it's Friday. Makes no difference for me, the unemployed Hikinito. Every day is Friday or Monday, depending on how you look at it. I did play some video games yesterday, hence the title of the stream being I tried playing Diablo 4. Emphasis on tried, not really successfully played it. I played it for about 3 hours maybe. I kept on waiting for it to become better. And yeah. It's weird because RPGs in dark, moody settings is definitely my thing. But Diablo 4 is like the first video game I've played in a very, very long time in which, while I'm playing it, I'm like, I could be doing something else with my life. Like it's not even like that bad. Like I've played bad games in which I'm just like, I'm not gonna play this anymore because it's a bad game. But I mean, Diablo 4 has a lot of like decent mechanics theoretically going on for it, and yet while I'm playing it, all I can think about is how it feels like I'm wasting my life. So it's sort of a new genre for me in terms of like, it makes me aware of my mortal time on this earth and how my time is so limited that I shouldn't be using it to play modern Blizzard games. Let's start cleaning this shit up. Have you watched PSG Season 2 yet? I'll check it out pretty soon, I guess. I'm sure someone will ask me to draw content for it. Are you Saint Germain? I already made that joke last stream. Because I was looking up panty stocking garter belt content on YouTube, they recommended me like a Trigger studio making of the content type video, so I checked that out for 10 minutes and I was reminded at how much better animators are at drawing than pretty much anybody when it just comes to like putting things on paper. On the other hand, they can't like do any writing and stuff like that, so manga is this weird jack of all trades shit where you have to do everything, so I guess I shouldn't feel too bad about it. I can already draw better than a good percentage of other people who are trying to make a living with manga, so I'm already passing the basic bar. I just need to increase my speed and I'll be good. Which means figuring out the processes that I can cut down on and make more efficient and stuff. And then hiring assistants. Not that I'm going to do that while I'm in the amateur phase, but... Every time I feel like I can't tell whether some of the lines and stuff are dark enough, I have to export the page as a PNG. Because I don't feel confident that I can properly judge the darknesses of things based on the Clip Studio Paint viewing format. I export it every single time, so I keep on exporting again and again and again. I like the dumb face she's making on the bottom panel. Le wholesome troll elf. The elf must troll. Let's go ahead and make the eyelashes a little bit darker. So I feel like a general rule of drawing in black and white is that areas where there's high contrast, like really dark areas next to really white areas, is where your eyes kind of get drawn to. But you don't want to have too much of that. It's nice to have like high contrast, but like break it up a little bit with some gray in between. Alright, let's export it again. I make a tiny minute change on the eyelash darkness. Export it as a PNG again. Check it again. And I always look at it on my big ass monitor, the 4K monitor. I think we can make the left eyelash a little bit darker. What you're working on, my manga. You should read it. It's on Twitter. Or any number of other websites that repost my shit without my permission. It's not a big deal, Aubrey. Zana's just having a little giggle. You having a giggle, mate? This is chapter 4 if you want to read my manga. So chapters 1 through 3 are on... They're on Twitter or various places. You can see the rapid improvement that I'm making in the past year as I begin to learn the fundamentals of professional quality manga making. You've been seeing my stuff since 2023, I assume, because it's been reposted everywhere. I started working on this manga in the beginning of 2024 or so. So we're at like what? This is like what, page 35 of this chapter. We're at like 100 plus pages now, so... The average theory for becoming a manga pro is that you should be aiming to get your debut one-shot in a magazine, posted in a magazine after you draw about 500 pages, and then you should probably have a series after you've drawn about 1,000 pages. And if you haven't gotten to that point, then that means there might be some talent deficiencies that you have to work on. This seems to be the general theory. Not gonna breach containment and say where I was seeing it. They were probably seeing it on 4chan, is my guess, but... Or even cringier places. I'm originally from 4chan, so I still have a strong group of believers in me who repost my shit there. My internet trajectory goes drawing fan art on 4chan, drawing fan art on Tumblr, drawing fan art on Twitter, and then we're in like the manga phase now. I bought my drawing tablet in 2011, so we're on year 14 of this shit. Want to see your older stuff. There's a pretty long timeline on my Twitter account. There's also, if you want to see the absolute longest timeline, the best way to look at it is on eHentai. Someone has basically uploaded everything I've posted on 4chan at any point. Because I used to have a Mega Drive where you could just look at all my shit. And then I'm popular enough that I have people who, you know, want to troll me. So they reported it as, you know, being a child porn archive or something to the mega corporation. So they took that shit down because, of course, they don't actually check the contents of the shit that they're taking down. That would take too much time. So I no longer have a handy, convenient archive that you can look at, but my shit is still up on eHentai and stuff. Christ, that's just a cycle of popularity on the internet. If you want to put something nice on the internet, like a handy drive for everybody to look at your stuff, it's only going to last as long as you're unpopular, and then once you start getting popular, people are going to be, you know, bitches be jealous about your internet Reddit gold points or whatever. The obscure Korean basket weaving forum I used to frequent bullied all of its artists off the platform because they were too popular. So I started posting art on 4chan around 2011, and I was actually one of the originators of the draw threads on A at the time. But 4chan isn't a great place to post your art long term, obviously, because, you know, it's impermanent. So why waste your time putting energy into 4chan when you could be building your own, like, fan base in a more permanent category? So it's a good thing I moved on to Tumblr. And then, of course, Tumblr got nuked by the corporations wanting to make money off of not having porn because it gets in the way of their ad revenue. So then after that I moved to Twitter. That's sort of how it went. Then everybody started complaining about everything being a repost to the surprise of absolutely no one. At some point, there's diminishing returns to being anonymous on the internet. When the benefit of being anonymous on the internet is that you can post the N-word a million times and you won't get banned, and there aren't many other benefits, anybody who wants to create a profile and make money off their internet profile long term isn't going to be using their 4chan location as their primary home, you know? You can even monetize your Twitter post theoretically, but it's so little that it's really not worth your time unless you're like somebody, an influencer type that can make money without drawing pictures and without actually doing like any real effort. If you're like the Alex Jones Twitter account, you can make money that way off Twitter, but not for someone who actually has to draw something every time. Aubrey has had enough. Do you not do anything, earn anything from it? Not on Twitter. You basically ask people to go to your Patreon account, and then Elon got angry about that. So he tries to limit people like posting links and stuff. I don't understand how it works, but I think there's some sort of algorithm shit going on where it's like if you have a link in your post or something to an outside website, they try and like subdue its reach. But I built up my Twitter following before that a little, luckily, so there I do get Patreon bucks. I make a living off of a combination of the Patreon bucks and then like doing commissions every once in a while where I draw people's depraved fetishes. You fuck with Grok AI waifu? Has anyone who keeps on asking that actually fucked with the Grok AI waifu? Do you guys not know that it's like a premium subscription shit? Who the fuck is gonna give Elon like $30 a month for that shit? Like, I would touch it if it was free. The age of woman is over. Now is the time for AI waifus. We're also in the age of communicating with your OnlyFans girlfriend and paying her hundreds of dollars a month and ignoring the fact that when she sends you an instant message, it's probably a professional Filipino man getting paid 50 cents an hour. Those are for the people who aren't capable of jacking off to anime. The sad, sad non-anime coomers out there who have to delude themselves into the fact that they're talking to like a flesh and blood human being, when we all know that anime waifus are superior. Although, on the other hand, paying Elon $30 a month isn't much better. You should use your technological ability and create your own AI waifu. It's the only way. The Filipino man is the real waifu? Yes. He's an invisible hero. Supporting the gooning of so many men. What is the context of this page? I don't have the dialogue up because I don't want to spoiler people, although anybody who's tuning into this stream is most definitely getting spoiled about various stuff. You'll have to wait for this chapter to come out and then read it by following me on Twitter and then supporting me on Patreon, so I will continue to draw manga. That's the setup here. Or wait for the Solus dub. The Solus dub will be coming out before the Twitter posting. The order in which it will get posted is I'll post it first on Patreon. And then the Solus dub will come out like a day after that. And then after a while, after the Solus dubs are all out, I'll be posting it on Twitter. How is it going, BB? Addicted to horse girls yet? Did I say I was playing Uma Musume? No, I was not. You sick fucks. Honestly, you should all be ashamed of plugging gacha as hard as everybody has been plugging gacha. Read the title of the stream. It says, I tried playing Diablo 4. That's what I was doing yesterday. I went and bought my yearly supply of running shoes because the jogging shop, local jogging shop, does a sale of all the going out of sale running shoe yearly models around this time. So I buy like $300 of running shoes. This is like my yearly supply of running shoes. Then I came back and I played Diablo 4. How was Diablo 4? It's like, I started off the stream talking about this, but now that there's people here, let me go over it again. It's a weird game in that theoretically a lot of its content is like high quality stuff. Like it has high quality art design and lighting and supposedly has high quality gameplay, I guess. It's not awful. But the entire time I was playing it, I kept on feeling like it's gonna get more fun soon, right? I'm not having that much fun, but I'm sure if I just change my build a little or, you know, try out something else, I'll start having fun. And then I started to be like, man, this is a huge waste of my time. I have so many more important things to do with my life. I can't be wasting my time playing this video game when I'm gonna be dead soon in like 30 years, 40 years. And, you know, that's the truth for any video game, right? So it's weird that Diablo 4 is the one that makes me feel that way, but it really is kind of feels like a reminder of my mortality. Instead of having fun, I'm just like, oh man, I'm gonna die soon. I better not be wasting my life playing this subpar game. So that's my review for Diablo 4. Instead of letting me forget all the worries of the world and just enjoying a video game, I spend all my time thinking about how I need to do other stuff. The whole magic of Diablo is gone because the devs that actually made the old games left a long time ago. It's very hard for me to put my finger on why Diablo 4 isn't that much fun. Because I was playing Path of Exile 2 last year when the early access came out so hard I couldn't draw at all, and like my eyes were hurting because I wasn't taking enough time to like not stare at the fucking screen. So I'm definitely still in my ARPG Gooner phase, no doubt. I remember reading as a child, there was like some manga about like the making of Mega Man. This was like the 90s because I'm fucking old. And in one of it, there was an episode of like the main character shows up at Capcom and he's like, wait, what is that guy doing? They're like, oh, that's the director. And the main character's like, but he's not doing any job. All he's doing is playing video games. And the other employees are like, no, that is his job. He's replaying the same part of Mega Man again and again and again a million times, trying to figure out what part of Mega Man is fun and what part isn't, so we can have more fun parts and less unfun parts. That's his job. He just has to continuously play and try and figure out what's fun and what isn't fun. I was like, holy shit, that's an actual job. And for some reason, when I was playing Diablo 4, I got the feeling like they have professionals at all of the other levels of the game. Like they have a professional that can design spooky looking gothic fantasy environments. They have all these people that can like do music, do decent music, can do decent graphics, can do decent somewhat gameplay, I guess. But I feel like there isn't anybody who can actually sit down and play the game for 80 hours straight and try and figure out specifically what is fun and what isn't fun. And I think as a result, it's just not fun. The most important person, the person who can be in the shoes of the player and like actually pinpoint what dynamics are fun and what aren't fun, I don't think they have that person anymore. Nothing stands out in D4. I'm not saying stuff stand out. I'm saying it passes a very certain level of threshold of like it's like it passes that 7 out of 10 point. Most of the things are 8 out of 10, I would actually say, if we're going by the standard IGN score, where 9 out of 10 is a good game, 10 out of 10 is a great game, 8 out of 10 is like a decent game, 7 out of 10 is barely passable, and everything below 7 is horseshit, if we're going by that score. There's a lot of stuff that's like 8 out of 10 in Diablo 4, like the graphics and shit like that. But I don't feel like anything is like a 10 out of 10. Meanwhile, I'm playing Stranger in Paradise, which has the jankiest jank. So much of Stranger in Paradise is just giga jank. Insane levels of jankiness. Probably one of the jankiest stories you'll ever read. The entire story is the characters walking around being like, do I remember this before? Something feels weird. Deja vu. And then the main character being like chaos. And yet, 10 years from now, if I want to have a conversation about chaos, everybody who's played Stranger of Paradise will be able to meme chaos, and no one will remember anything about fucking Diablo 4 besides the mommy gooners who are like, I like the Lilith mommy demon gooning. Also, I will say that playing Diablo on console, they clearly didn't have anybody who is capable of designing the UI for console, and there's a lot of shit where it just doesn't seem to work very well. Like, it's very hard to figure out how to get your cursor on top of tooltips, because everything was designed with being able to mouse over shit. And there's no mouse option either. So, in that aspect, it's like a 6 out of 10. I'm a mommy gooner and I don't even care. I really, really like super dark gothic environments and then murdering everything in it. So the fact that I can't get into Diablo 4 is a pretty hard condemnation. Condemnation? Yeah, I guess that's the right word. Of Blizzard's video game. Is it possible that Blizzard just can't make video games anymore at this point? I think people like get distracted by all the corporate greed aspects of a lot of Western video game companies and all the DEI bullshit and stuff. And obviously those things are also important, but I think it's very possible that a lot of these companies have lost so much talent that they can't really make video games at this point. Like, they can make crude facsimiles of the way the video game used to run, but like, the end stage capitalism is so bad in so many of these game companies. Like, it's possible that all the people that had any kind of vision on how a video game is supposed to be, or have all been fired, or have all retired at this point. Just like based on the age at which most of these game companies started and when they were at their heyday. If the main employees haven't been fired, they've either moved on or have retired or stuff like that. So I think it's possible that nobody has replaced the talent. 300 gigabyte install folder of Western Game Dev has been here. Thank God they did some amount of optimization for the consoles. Diablo 4 on PS5 is only 105 gigabytes. Extremely manageable compared to the PC standards. Most of the industry is suffering from skill issue. The only video game devs that are like seem to be on top of their game are the ones that weren't big names back when I was a kid and like actually built up their like, you know, their reputation back when I was a kid. Like Square Enix fucking cooked, right? Completely just cruising on their previous reputation and like their IP. Haven't made a inspired game in years. Blizzard, we already talked about it. Halo, 343 Industries. I mean, Bungie is fucking... Both Bungie and 343, which is piloting the corpse of Halo, are both fucking dead. The video game studios that seem to still got it are the ones that seem to be ones that have like a completely different personnel and different reputation and aren't running the same people. Like From Software is like the biggest fucking video game company in the world now, not in terms of size, but in terms of like people actually willing to buy their shit. And I think there's like a cumulative effect where people who work in the industry and play video games go to the company that they think is actually making good video games, right? Like, I didn't think there was any chance in hell that Night Rain would be even like decent fun, but everybody who's played it, and I haven't played it because it's not my type of game, but everybody who's played it is like, it's definitely worth at least $40. And that's not a Miyazaki game, so it's not just like one guy either. It means that they have some amount of talent of people who can like... There can be like some understudy guy who's like, hey, I have an idea for a game, and it's slightly different from what we've been making. And I think it'll be fun. And they have enough talent to sort of like slap some shit together and make something that's fun. I can't believe Halo Killer was the Halo studio. Both Microsoft is a Halo killer, 343 Industries is the Halo killer, Bungie is also the Halo killer. They're all fucking dead. Destiny is dead, Halo is dead. FPS genre is dead, it seems. Like, holy fuck. Ship of Theseus, yes. Actually 3 guys that worked on in QA. You'd be lucky if you even get those 3. There's no reason that they need to have all the same people in any context. It's just the same name, you know? If the name is the same, it's close enough. $40 game for something that looks like a DLC and all they did is make it a roguelike game using the same map of Elden Ring. I don't know. Just feels like a ripoff. Yeah, but people are still playing it and enjoying it, it seems. Also, the $40 price tag is approximately half the price of, you know, what you're expected to pay for a video game nowadays, so... If you look at indie games for even a second, you'll see the FPS revival. I mean, I don't actually believe that FPSs are dead. I mean, like, you know, everybody, all the bros playing Call of Duty after school is dead. I mean, genres don't actually die, except for real-time strategy. Real-time strategy is definitely dead. Nobody wants to fucking click units and manage their economy on their mouse and keyboard. Fuck that shit. RTS is legitimately dead as a genre. We don't have to debate that. How can you say that FPS is dead when Call of Duty just added American Dad characters to the game? It's funny because, like, if I look at any kind of Call of Duty content on YouTube, I remember back in like 2008, it was all like, sick, I got this double triple nuke by doing spinny spins on my 360 no scope on Rust. Oh, this is so awesome, let's go. And instead, every single video is just like, why won't they remove skill-based matchmaking? And the answer is because they have an algorithm saying that people will play the game more if they have a fucking skill-based matchmaking algorithm deciding when you win or lose for maximum engagement. I tried playing a little bit of Call of Duty Cold War like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, because it was included in my PlayStation Plus subscription. And the core gameplay of Call of Duty, which I grew up enjoying from college and stuff, is still relatively fun. But then when I would get in a team deathmatch, if I hadn't been playing the game for like 4 days and I would get in like a new team deathmatch game, suddenly I would go like 30-1 and nobody could fucking kill me because I was being matched up against noobs and I would just like stomp on all of them and I was like, this feels a little bit weird. And then I would go back and then they would match me up against people of the same skill level as me and it's back to like that like 1.1 KD average. And it's like, wow, it sure feels great having the invisible hand of Activision engagement algorithm just like deciding whether I'm going to win or lose at all times. This is so much fun. And like, the argument against this is you just want to beat up on noobs. You just want to pub stomp. And it's like, no, it's not pub stomping. I want to, like, it's fine getting my ass kicked at times. The problem is that it's all invisible, right? Like, you can have skill-based matchmaking. You just have to give people some sort of, like, information indicator to show that they're, like, improving at the game or something. So it's not like you're in the middle of nowhere. Like, if you're in Street Fighter, you know that you're in Diamond or Platinum, so you can have this satisfaction of actually getting better at the game. But if it's all just, like, happening in this invisible area where Activision is deciding whether you win or lose, it's like, what's the fucking point here? Proud member of having played Call of Duty since the first Black Ops Club. I played Call of Duty all the way up to Black Ops 3. So what year was that? Can't remember. Black Ops 3 release date. It was 2015, so 10 years ago. I played the shit out of Black Ops 3, and I used every single little dirty trick that I had learned up until that point to get my Team Deathmatch KD to 2.63, which is insanely high for anybody who's played Call of Duty. For someone who isn't actually good at video games like I am, the fact that I was able to get my KD that high really says a lot of all the fucking sweat I put in. I was using so many little dirty tricks. I would be littering the entire map with landmines and stuff. I would be camping in corners. I would be doing every single, like, cheap-ass shit that I could instead of, like, you know, winning every gunfight. And after that, I was like, well, I don't think I'm ever going to get better than this. I've maxed out my skill level, and then I stopped playing after that. Because, like, right after that is when we went into the PUBG, Fortnite, Call of Duty, Black Ops 4, Battle Royale era. And I don't like those games, so I'm happy you survived Diablo 4. I'll go back to it a little bit, but I'm just not having much fun. There are more fun games to be played, and it's a shame because I like the the music. Also, I fall asleep during Diablo 4. I've never had a game that puts me to sleep so consistently as Diablo 4. Like, my eyelids get so heavy. There's something about that, like, dark dungeon environment and, like, the soothing screams of dead demons and stuff like that that just makes me feel, like, incredibly drowsy. It's just like, oh, my eyelids. I can't stay awake. Modern Warfare 2 and CSGO was the last time I went MLG. So, you know, the fact that I was able to go full MLG all the way to my 29th birthday or whatever, because it was 10 years ago, says a lot about what a fucking man-child I am, I guess. But, you know, our MLG days are over. Instead, we have to draw for 10 hours a day instead of playing video games. Not that I'm actually doing that. I did play plenty of video games yesterday. If we look at my playing records on my PlayStation, I probably have like 30 hours or 50 hours in Balatro. I used to get sleepy playing Forza, which is kind of a bad sign. Yeah, especially if that carries over to your actual motor vehicle experience. Just running over children in the streets. They're up to Black Ops 6, are they? How many Black Ops games are there? How many COD Black Ops are there? Black Ops 2012, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, Black Ops Cold War, Black Ops 6. I'm happy to say that I haven't played a single Call of Duty game in my life. Call of Duty was a lot of fun back in the day. People don't actually give it much credit, but it really did revolutionize video games when Modern Warfare came out. Like, I think Modern Warfare had a bigger impact on the video game industry, whether you think it was a good thing or a bad thing, more than, like, Half-Life. People often talk about Half-Life on Half-Life being like how it revolutionized in-game storytelling and stuff like that, and the cameras and shit like that. I think Modern Warfare had a way bigger impact on the type of experience and the feel that we have, that we expect from our FPSs or games in general. Like, playing the tanker mission for the first time in Modern Warfare, it felt different from any of the other FPS games up until that point, in terms of, like, the amount of effects and stuff to make you feel like you were part of this tactical environment. You can basically blame the whole tactical, cinematic, cool shit happens storytelling almost entirely on Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I could say. I think so. Did it result in better games? Oh, also there was a huge mechanic difference. It also defined how to play FPS on console even more than Bungie did with Halo and like GoldenEye and stuff. The very specific mechanic of press the left bumper or left trigger to aim down sights was something that didn't exist until Call of Duty did it. And after that it became just like total industry standard, even in games that really didn't need it. It might have not necessarily resulted in a better video game ecosystem in the long run, but that isn't really on Call of Duty, I would say. That's on the rest of all the video game producers being uncreative and not being able to figure out which mechanics are important for their own game and which ones aren't. Like, I'm not gonna say that because Sony tried to create Guardians of the Galaxy based Overwatch with Concord and it was one of the worst flops in history. I'm not gonna be like, this is Guardians of the Galaxy's fault. Guardians of the Galaxy is still a good video game. Or not a video game, but a movie at its point in time. It's just Sony's fault for not being able to recognize that, you know, you can't take 8 years to make a video game and still have the same energy in the zeitgeist. I think Halo and Call of Duty generally made the industry much worse, even if they themselves were pretty good for the time. I guess, but the industry was probably going to get worse either way, you know. You can't blame it on a specific game. As long as we have the current corporations running the industry and their primary goal is to make lots and lots of money, it was going to make the industry worse in the long run at some point. That's just the nature of the beast. Video games back then were made by people who actually gave a shit about video games. Yeah, but it's not the fault of the successful games that made a lot of money that the video game industry went to shit. Because if there weren't these successful games that made a lot of money, then the industry would have just, you know, it wouldn't have collapsed, it would just be much smaller and we wouldn't have as many games. It's the corporation's fault for being like, see how much money that game is making, we want that. And thankfully now we have all this indies instead, right? You can still get the experience of people who have a vision and know how to make a video game. And they do make a video game, it's just an indie now, and you can't go to AAA to get that experience anymore because they've poisoned the well so much that nobody who actually has any creative vision can actually get a job in one of these AAA studios. There was just a brief period in which you could go to and get a AAA video game that was also fueled by a creative development team, because there was a very brief period in which the creative people were still in power and they could still make a video game. And then the corporations were also giving them lots of money. And then eventually, you know, the corporations want more and more and they, you know, fire everyone. So we had like a 10-year window and I guess that's to be expected. Everybody wants to be the next Fortnite Minecraft. It do be like that. I do imagine that it will swing back eventually, as these things tend to. The video game industry is such a young industry. I think the corporations haven't really figured it out, but if you look at how Hollywood has worked, it goes through these periods where there's like really good creative output and then they like make a shit ton of money and then they want to replicate that huge income boost and then they have poor periods of bad output and so on and so on, and it sort of swings back and forth. I can't play Baldur's Gate 3 because the girls aren't cute enough. Once DEI is fully purged, then I will return to Western Game Studios. Until then, Neo 3 is still coming out, so I don't fucking care. Actually, the last Sony State of Play, which I didn't watch because I don't watch that shit anymore, was like the first time in a while where I'm like, holy shit, gaming is healing. Fucking Neo 3 with a Neo 3 demo dropping immediately. Luminaires. All the stuff. Pragmata is still alive. Notice how all of these game companies are Japanese game companies, so, you know. I haven't said anything about the Western game industry. That's just the Japanese game industry. But the problem was that the Japanese game industry was being infected by the Western game industry because Japan has a very bad habit of being convinced by stupid Western corporations that they have to get with the times and do whatever horrible fucking business practices that Western creatives are doing, despite all the evidence suggesting that when it comes to shit like entertainment, Japan is vastly superior. Too many of the same old genre with pixel art, low poly, PS2 era graphics, horror games. Well, I mean, asking for frequently to get video games that have like creative concepts or are really good is, it's like, I think that's asking too much. Like, you guys don't understand. As an old person, like, we look back fondly on, like, PS1, PS2, that era, but 99% of the games back then were shit as well. We just remember the good ones with rose-colored glasses. I'd say if you actually look at the average quality of video game, it's way higher nowadays than it ever was growing up. There just isn't as many, like, incredibly inspired, timeless masterpieces coming out because a lot of those people used to work in the corporation, so the funding isn't there for that stuff. You look back fondly because the best ones stood out so much, so you don't spend time thinking about how bad the bad video games were. You just remember the really good video games. And that goes for everything. Movies, music, anything. So it's very easy to think that the era that you were growing up in had like better stuff, but it's usually just rose-colored glasses. That being said, the last like 8 years or so of Western video game, in fact, video game development as a whole has been total ass, even if we're not, like, talking about nostalgia goggles. There's no point in denying that. Video games that had a chance to be good in the first place were absolutely shit just by the existence of DEI. And that goes for a lot of stuff. As someone who uses my mother's Amazon Prime subscription to watch some of the TV shows that are on Amazon Prime, and I would start a show that had relatively good reviews, and within like the first 5 minutes, like just a character would appear and be like, "Hi, I'll be your mechanic. I'm a black woman who works in this male industry, and here's my lesbian wife." I'm like, holy shit. Within the first 10 minutes, I'm not even exaggerating. This is a real thing that that has happened multiple times when I was watching TV shows. So I don't know what kind of like direct monetary compensation they were getting, but yeah, it was pretty fucking blatant. I'm not joking. I can specifically name the TV shows I'm talking about if you want to check them. One is called Citadel, which was supposed to be Amazon Prime's massive high-budget James Bond franchise. It has a lot of problems besides DEI, but within the first episode, they introduce a character who's like, "Hi, and I forgot her name," and she's like, "And this is my wife," is a black woman, of course, and she has a wife, and then they never appear again. They are introduced for like 5 seconds as if they're like going to be a major character as part of this spy agency, but they're only introduced and they don't do anything. And I'm sure that there was like some sort of mandatory, like, you know, BlackRock investment quota that they had to hit. Just like a straight up point system that they had to hit. And black female lesbian couple is probably like the highest amount of points that they had to clear. And just putting this one character in for 3 seconds was enough. And then like they never show up again. And then the other TV show was called The Rig, which is about, I don't know, something on an oil rig, but within the first 30 minutes of the first episode, there's like a lesbian couple or something, I think, and one of them is a black woman. So I was like, holy shit, it really is. The quota is real. And this was the 2 movie shows, or the 2 TV shows I tried watching on Amazon Prime. I'm sure if I digged even deeper, there would be a bunch more. Because I basically gave up after that. It was 2 for 2. That sounds very 4chan green text. No, I ain't watching any Amazon content shit. It's your loss. Or more like, it would be your loss if you watched it and wasted 30 minutes confirming what I said was true. I'm just saying that it's not like just 4chan conspiracy theory shit. I've seen it with my own eyes. There definitely was some sort of point-based quota for minorities. 100% sure about that one. TV was never good, that's true. It was only good for a very brief period of time. And even that was like paid for TV, like HBO. It's very much true still on current TV. What, are you saying you don't watch CSI Dubai? Law and Order Special Victims Unit? Where they go to a furry convention and find a horrifying scene in which somebody stuck a plastic ball up their ass or something? I don't know. Do you see Naughty Dog's new game? Yeah, I saw the trailer. I'm sure they're like, is there any way we can get out of this? What if she grew some hair? What about that? I'm sure they're thinking that shit. This is the problem with having video games in development for 8 years. By the time you show the trailer, everyone's moved on from that era, and they no longer tolerate your DEI bullshit. And now you're in deep, deep trouble. In Canada, they still drinking the DEI Kool-Aid? I mean, I don't know if we're out of the DEI rabbit hole in America as well. Because it's kind of hard to tell because so much has to come down the pipeline, you know? We're still ejecting the shit that was already in the works. Whatever next movie that comes out of Disney after this period, that will tell us whether we're out of the DEI pipeline or not. Because we had Snow White, which was like a massive bomb. We had Elio recently for Pixar, which was also a... So I heard that Elio was supposed to be, like, gay-coded, even though it's a movie about, like, a little kid. But it was originally being made as gay-coded. And then Disney kept on giving the Pixar office notes that they didn't want to make it as gay. Which tells me that Disney is going back to their we want to make money mode. And they're trying to, like, purge their DEI. And we might be in, like, the last period of them, like, getting their DEI content out of the system. Because they already made everything, so they have to show it, at least. I think Ironheart might be the last, like, Disney DEI show that they have. Concord tried so hard to become the next Overwatch, and in the meantime, Overwatch had already killed itself. Yes, the irony is incredible. When your development cycle is so long, the popular thing that you were trying to ape has already gone out of style, and also has also succumbed to the same diseases of DEI and shit. What's on TV these days? My family dropped cable back in 2014. You should try watching broadcast TV and see the kind of stuff it's on. It's not very pretty. Most people watch Netflix though at this point, I'm pretty sure. Unless they're super boomers. Disney actively pushed against any and all gay references for Gravity Falls until the final 5 minutes of the last episode, and then they put GF in their LGBTQ list on Disney+. Interesting. Yeah, I do think that they've realized that it's overall going to be a money loss, and they're trying to extract themselves from the DEI situation. It's funny that it takes so long for these corporations to figure that shit out, and when then they do, then they all like try and turn the ship around at the same time. Disney is like the epitome of Pride Month virtue signaling. Yes, Disney and... Well, I guess Disney is number one. I can't think of anybody that even compares to Disney, honestly. Yeah, it's probably Disney being number one by far. They gotta learn it the hard way. I mean, I don't think anyone's worried about Disney going out of business. No matter how much money they lose, they can always charge 5,000% for some shitty Disney cruise. As long as children exist in the world, which isn't a 100% thing anymore because of the population decline, there will always be parents forced to take their kids to Disneyland and shit, so... If anything, the Disneyland tickets and like availability and difficulty of getting into Disneyland has just gone up steadily after COVID because everyone wants to do like live in-person shit now. If you want to go on a Disneyland vacation, it costs you like $10,000 if you have like a family of 5 apparently, so it's probably like the same price as going to Europe or some shit. It's crazy. The fuck is 10,000? Yeah, I actually got interested in how much Disney costs now. So I was watching some YouTube videos on it and like people giving out tips. There's all these Disney YouTubers and they're like how to make a Disney vacation affordable, tips and tricks shit. And their definition of affordable is under 5 figures, so it never becomes very affordable under any situation. Do you guys know that Disneyland now has like this whole pass system where you have to pay more money to skip ahead of line? It's like my Japanese animes where the drill-haired Ojo-sama shows up and is like, oh ho 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 ho, look at these peasants waiting in line. And she has her steward named Sebastian be like carrying a parasol above her. Except this is now the Disney business strategy. It's literal like classism. It's like, oh, you don't want to wait in line for an extra hour? You better pay another $500 to get in the Fast Pass line. Have Disney's private assassins murder Disney adults with children to give them the authentic Cinderella experience. The children would be better off, of course, if that happened, but why would Disney be interested in doing that? Because the parents are what pays for the vacation. In fact, Disney adults are exactly the type of people they want to have. These crazy man-child, or more like woman-child, people who have never been able to grow up and are willing to waste thousands and thousands of dollars on their tacky-ass Disney vacation. Entertainment is fuck for new gen kids if prices are these high and questionable quality. I mean, if you want to do stuff in the real world, it is, but if you have a computer and are willing to pirate shit, there's more free entertainment right now than there ever was before. Even if you don't pirate shit, just install AdBlock and you have unlimited amounts of YouTube content that you can just take Coco Melon and inject it into your brain. I know this is impossible to understand for the younger generations, but when I was growing up, there were actual periods of time when we had nothing to do in the 90s. We had seen all the movies, nothing was new, there weren't any video games. We would actually just ride our bikes around and hope we wouldn't get murdered by the local child molester. Now it's basically impossible to reach a state in which you've played literally every video game to play if you actually like video games, for example. Who's worse between Harry Potter adults and Disney adults? I assume it's Disney adults, but I've only met a Harry Potter adult in real life. When I was working as a lifeguard, my manager was a grossly obese white woman who also claimed that she has Cherokee ancestry, and she was also a Harry Potter adult. So, you know, the full bingo card of cringe shit. She was also a habitual liar and a horribly abusive person, and everybody in the office absolutely despised her. I'm generally... I know it doesn't sound like this, but I tend to be somewhat believing in the basic goodness of humanity as like a default stance, but the existence of this woman is what reminded me that, in fact, there are irredeemable evil human beings on the planet, so I can thank her for that. Disney adults are worse, having met both types. Yeah, I think there's like 1 out of every 10 Harry Potter adults might be somewhat well-adjusted human being, whereas I don't think there are any well-adjusted Disney adults, at least in America. There's a shit ton of Disney adults in Japan, but I don't think they're anywhere near... Like, there's way more Disney adults in Japan, but they're not as cringe, is my general experience. Disney runs a tighter ship in Japan, and you can get away with being a Disney adult and not being a fucking psychopath, usually. Isn't the ancestry shit just the average American thinking they're Irish because they're 7th generation immigrant like everyone else? The ancestry shit for white women claiming they're Cherokee is actually way worse than that, because it's basically them wanting the minority card without actually being a minority, and then they combine that usually with their like worship of concepts like princesses and stuff. So they'll never just be like, I was like the Cherokee cum dump shit janitor or something. They're always like, I was a Cherokee princess. My great-great-great-grandmother was a Cherokee princess. They were never like, yeah, I'm a 5 parts Cherokee, but my great-great-great-grandfather was like the shithead drunkard of the tribe. Everybody hated him. They're always like, no, I was a fucking princess. I had a manager who claimed to be 1/10 whatever. She didn't wear it on her sleeve, though, at least. If you can't speak the language, you ain't that thing. Shut the fuck up. You're not a Native American. If you haven't actually been living on the reservation and you can't actually speak the language or do anything culturally, or don't have any, like, direct family that can do shit culturally, then you ain't fucking Native American. You're just a descendant of someone who got raped. Jesus Christ. The thing is, Europeans can actually pull that shit because kings had a shit ton of bastards. Yeah, but do they? That's the question. Remember, the Native American princess shit is combined with the I'm also a minority bullshit. I think I met maybe one Native American in my life, and I live in a major city. I went to a liberal arts college, so one of my buddies was Navajo. He showed me... He was one of those few people who actually could write Navajo, which is like one of the hardest languages on the planet. He was also way better at video games than me, which was very annoying. I would have been practice a video game for hundreds of hours, and he would just like pick it up and immediately like beat my ass in it. It was very sad. I borrowed Ninja Gaiden Black from him. I did not beat it, now in retrospect. We graduated before I could beat Ninja Gaiden Black, so I had to give it back. I've only ever heard of American bringing up their ancestry as some sort of flex. Because America has no history, the desire to create a fake history about your bloodline is much stronger than other places that have legitimate history. Every American is free to make up their own bullshit story of why they're special. You hear about Sister Hong? No. In fact, if you think about it, who gives a fuck about your ancestry? I would never give money to those ancestry places, especially when they started using people's DNA information to hunt down serial killers and shit. I don't want to give them any sort of information to go on if I ever want to start taking up serial killing, you know? Hashtag serial killer energy. Did you see the airplane guys moving a cow onto the plane? Guys, you have to understand, I'm not on the internet as much as you guys are. Although I am on the internet itself, all my time on the internet is spent me just drawing shit non-stop. I don't get to look at your funny videos. I have a brief 5-minute period in which I open Twitter when I'm gonna announce that the stream is starting, and then I look at what is trending on Twitter before I begin the stream, and it's always like, what is trending on Twitter? Oh no, he didn't. And I click on oh no, he didn't, and it's just a bunch of liberals and Republican supporters screaming at each other, and I can't even figure out what's trending. You can be a normal and decent person, but nope, everybody wants to be special. I just like to say that I'm actually special, as in fucking special eds, and it's not much fun. I wish I had the ability to be normal, but that would be too difficult. Going out into society and speaking to people for more than 5 minutes absolutely stresses me out and tires me out, and I can't fucking do it. I've been practicing drawing by drawing Street Fighter characters. That's good practice if you're looking at the Capcom artwork. Capcom has some of the best art departments of all time, so it's a perfectly good idea to learn from them. I have a speech impediment as well. That's how I got into special ed courses. Can you guys notice that I don't say my R's well? R. Rah, rah. Rah, 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 rah. So I have a speech impediment in which my R's are R's, a realm reborn, are underpronounced. So I had to go to the special ed class for that shit. And then I also have Asperger's, but that's not why I was in special ed. That got diagnosed after schooling. You do slur a little bit. The slurring, a lot of is just me like talking non-stop without drinking enough water and stuff. But the R's are that come from a speech impediment. I often pronounce them with a W instead of a R. And if I try hard enough, I think I can pronounce them decent, but it's hard. Yours is incredibly hard to notice. People think I have like a Bostonian accent. Clam chowder. Clam chowder. Boston accent. Thickest Boston accent.
Oh boy, here we go. All right. Oh, there she is. What's up, lady? That's a nice hat.
Thanks, it's my 47 hat.
Wow, where did you wear such a hat like that of such stature? You know, where would you?
Like the pop, the cow.
I don't. You want to do what?
The park, the car.
I don't know what. Where'd you rock a hat like that, huh?
Oh, Fenway Park.
Ma'am, I don't.
Fenway
it's
Park.
very Straight.
I'm just making my accent worse. I probably shouldn't do that. Let's listen to Matt Damon.
But that's your voice. But that's your voice. That's what's like.
I mean,
No, I would have to put it on to do a really sharp one.
Go on, teach me a little Boston phrase. What should I say if I go to Boston?
You can't really do it without swearing.
Okay.
But let's see, like they're interested, like you would say like the word ma, right?
Ma.
Yeah.
Ma.
So
Ma.
ma downstairs.
Ma downstairs.
He's ma downstairs.
If that word was followed by a vowel, you'd have to add an R. So you'd say, is Myra upstairs?
Mara upstairs.
Is Mara upstairs? Wow, that's so hard.
Mara upstairs.
You have to add R's. It's not just removing the R's. Is Mar upstairs? That's kind of like growling. I was only diagnosed as autistic a couple weeks ago. I also had speech impediment as a child, but managed to learn proper talking before starting actual school. Yeah. I have very mild Asperger's. Back in the day when it was still called Asperger's instead of being part of the autism spectrum, so most people don't notice it. But it definitely has crippled my life in some ways. I'm constantly stressed out when I'm around other human beings. The fight and flight instinct is very strong. So just being in a crowd of people is that alone is just extremely stressful. I go to the gym in the middle of the night, so there's nobody else around me, for example. I came in from running in 90-degree heat and now my head hurts. You're probably dehydrated. You need to get both cool and you need to get a bunch of fluids and also get some salt in you. As someone who has tried to work out during the summer, it's not worth it. You have to go to a gym or something. Because, like, the point of working out, it's not just to go outside, right? It's to have an effective workout, and you're not actually going to be able to do it. Yeah, vacuuming, that shit does stress me out. When my mother vacuums, it's like, god damn, she's making noise. Hypersensitive to noise, hypersensitive to people's proximity. Have difficulty ignoring noise. Can you imagine how that normal people can just like shut out noise and ignore it? Apparently that's like being enabled to ignore noise that you want to ignore is like it sets you up for mental illness, which is understandable, but I think there was some study that they did showing that men who had difficulty just like shutting out the extra noise in their life were like 30% more likely for schizophrenia or losing their mind or some shit like that. I recently started using noise-canceling headphones and it makes it way better though. It doesn't shut out all noise, but even some amount of dampening is helpful. Especially because the gym always has like fucking annoying music I don't want to listen to, so jamming in those noise-canceling headphones and also earplugs as a whole are just helpful. Just using a lot of equipment to reduce the various forms of stimulation in your life is just helpful if you're on the autism spectrum. So we're talking about blackout curtains, sleep mask for maximum amount of darkness in your room when you need the darkness, noise-canceling headphones. It can be helpful to like double up the noise-canceling headphones. You can get noise-canceling earbuds and then put headphones on top of the noise-canceling earbuds and have like one of your headphones, the headphones on top be like playing noise-canceling and then like rain noises, and then have like the earbuds in your ear having like noise-canceled music or something playing, so you have double noise canceling. If I have like annoying ass people outside my window like using the lawnmower and shit and I absolutely have to like get maximum amount of noise cancellation, I do shit like that. By any means necessary. I suffer all those things too. Mom has never told me what the psychologist told her was wrong with me as a child. So I have a pretty decent mother on the broad spectrum of how bad your parents can be. So she became at least a little bit more understanding of me once she got a diagnosis. So I should be grateful for that, because if you have full neurosis parents, then they're just going to be like, there's nothing wrong with my child. I don't have to adjust my behavior at all. What is annoying is that I see all sorts of like Asperger, autism related behaviors in my mother, which makes me strongly believe that it's my autism was genetically inherited. But when I point these out to her, she never really admits that she's doing that. And I've been trying to diagnose her with like half autism my entire life, but she just ignores that shit. It's way more fun to diagnose other people than get yourself diagnosed, I guess is what that comes down to. Nobody likes being told there's something wrong with them. As someone who lives in a family with people who are probably all autistic, speaking past one another 90% of the time is not fun. Yeah. Autism does not play well with other autism. The fewer autistic people, for every one autistic person, you need like 5 normal people to support them. If you have like 3 autistic people in the same room, they're all just going to be talking about their own fucking hobbies. One person is going to be talking about dinosaurs, the other person is going to be talking about trains. It's a fucking bloodbath. Actually, my mother was like, you should check this out. So she took me to like an Asperger support group once, where I could meet other people who are on the spectrum, and it was so horrible. I was like, holy shit, this is what the real deal is. I thought I was on the spectrum, but I was small time compared to these Spurgs. There was like a textbook case of like one of the guys who just started talking about his hobby in front of like 10 other people, and nobody was reacting, and he just kept on talking, and I was like, oh, this is the thing. He's doing the thing that I've been told about. It really is like that. Holy fuck. Look at him go. I can't remember what his hobby was, but he would not shut the fuck up about it. I recently found out that autistic people and ADHD people tend to get along. Huh, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever met, or at least had like someone with legitimate ADHD in my life, now that I think about it. Even though I think it's probably way more common than autism. On the other hand, because I have autism, I haven't been properly socializing with people for quite a while now, so I guess using myself as a standard for the number of people with that issue is probably not the right way of looking at it. I try actively not to meet people, so... Autism and ADHD have a lot of overlapping symptoms, but enough differences to not drive each other mad. At least I don't have any, like, difficulty focusing on shit. I mean, the true king of it is the people who have both autism and ADHD at the same time. And there's quite a few of those. Good luck being one of those, like, autism savants. Savant, I guess is the right pronunciation. That they always have on TV. About how the superpowers you get by being autistic. You can't even have that if you have ADHD at the same time. So you can't, like, focus on shit. Drawing manga with ADHD would be so fucking hard, although I think there are people who do have ADHD that are trying to make it as mangaka, but... It's like, I feel like ADHD is getting set up for failure in school, whereas autism is getting set up for failure in the social aspects of life. Even those combo people might still lock in when their hyperfixation comes up, maybe. The ultimate combo. Autism, ADHD, OCD, bipolar, schizophrenic. The full infinity gauntlet. No one can stop me now. I have become modern day Zoomer mental issue man. Also, I have IBS. And what other acronyms can I think of? I think autism actually increases the chance of bipolar or borderline and OCD. I mean, it seems like it would, right? Like all the stresses kind of compound on each other, probably. It's like, if you're sick in your body, you know, it's not like, you're like, I'm a diabetic, which means I don't have heart disease. It's like, no, they all sort of go together, right? You're a diabetic with also heart disease. Thanks for letting us know about your IBS. I don't actually have IBS, guys. I also haven't had hemorrhoid bleeding for a while. I got a appointment for my hemorrhoid issues. I finally get to see a specialist in February. LMAO. Fucking American healthcare system. If you're not literally about to die and running into the emergency room, then when you get your referral and you get to go to the doctor, it'll be the next fucking year. Not even January next year, the middle of February. What a fucking joke. I think you have the same I mean tendency that I used to have. Do you mean I say I mean a lot? Hope you get good treatment. I mean, it's a common issue, so... they should be able to treat it. Man, it's fucking February. I might have fixed it by then. On my own. You say it fairly often. I think it's the same bracket as well, or actually to start off a sentence. It has nothing to do with autism or anything like that. Everybody has these little pauses that they make when they're trying to think of the next word to say, and then they fill it with other phrases or words and shit. And if you're being trained to become a good speaker, then you are trained to just not say anything during that time. But a lot of people instead fill those pauses by saying, I know, or you know, or I mean, or actually, or they say or But what you're told to do is you just don't say anything. And people wait for you to speak, and it makes you seem more powerful. Instead of saying or which makes you seem weaker. Instead, you just stop speaking, like I am right now. Dramatic pause in between sentences. You also use the same exact intonation every time. That is autism right there. Autistic people speak in a very flat intonation. Just say ano. You can also say etto. Ano, etto. What's the time? 6:41. For once, it's not super giga hot in my area right now for like a week, so I can finally go back to jogging outside, which is great. Instead of being stuck in the gym every day. 90% of my quality of life is dependent on it not being super hot. You're feeling those hemorrhoids growing? My hemorrhoids are painless, so I can basically ignore them. I've been ignoring them for 2 years, 3 years. Much longer, maybe, actually. But, I was diagnosed with having anemia, which is low blood cell count, because I was bleeding out of my ass too much, so it's time to fix them. You should remove the fabric between the lace-up part of Xana's top. Thanks for showing up for 1 second, just so you can make a comment on more boobies. I will be changing a lot of the costumes after this chapter. Because, well, the black and white balance of these costumes isn't great, so I want to fix that. It makes balancing everything in the page much harder, you know? So, we're gonna fix that up. I figured that because Xana had brown skin or gray skin or whatever color drows are, I should have her wear more white, you know, because the skin was already kind of dark. But I'm not sure. The problem is that the main character is also wearing white, and he has white hair and light skin, so he's just like full white. And Aubrey also, besides her brown hair, is wearing white. So there's just too much white in general in every single character. I need to figure out how to add more black to the page. I'm kind of managing right now using shading and stuff like that, but it would be much easier if I could just do something with all the clothing and stuff. That would make it easier. He has canonically white hair. Nah, he's blonde, but I'm just talking about the page. The page is just black and white, right? So you have 3 options: black, white, and gray. If we're going by traditional Japanese manga standards, you just give the main character black hair and call it a day. And then you've already obtained a certain amount of the black allowance, is what I would call it. You need to have some amount of black on the page. So I'm coping by having like strong black lettering and having like more black, darker black lines over here and like adding shading and stuff, but I really do need a little bit more just like straight up black areas. Yeah, you can add earrings, choker, various stuff. Half and half on clothes color is probably too much. I did this in the previous stream as well, but look at Dragon Ball for a good example of how to do black and white balance for clothing and stuff like that. Chadford's hair color is brown. Will's hair is coming from his mother. Blonde hair is only a recessive gene in real life, not in fantasy. In fantasy, Liquid Snake, who has blonde hair, is the one who has the dominant genes, and it's Solid Snake who has brown hair who has the recessive genes or some shit like that. Good job, Kojima. Bravo, Kojima. Excellent understanding of genetics there. Give her pink hair like the great Haru Urara. See, if you're drawing that on manga, it just becomes gray or white. There are no colors here, guys. That's not a thing. There will be color in the anime. There will never be an anime, guys. That's not gonna happen. Aubrey has thick eyebrows, so you know what that means. You could have potentially gone for the style of coloring only the eyes and their hair that is popular for some web manga. I'm trying to go for a Japanese professional manga career, so everything I'm doing is based on Japanese publishing standards. Eventually you have to publish the book in Japanese society to make your money. Web manga alone isn't gonna cut it. For Japanese standards, you're slow as fuck, homie. Actually, I'm not slow as fuck. I've been timing myself, and I'm averaging less than an hour per panel. So if you add that up, that's like 4 hours per page. Then you add a few assistants to do all this extra work. We're getting down to 3.5 hours a page, 2 hours a page, depending on how much I'm getting my assistants to draw. That's pretty normal professional mangaka pace. I'm not actually that slow. You don't understand. Japanese mangaka that you talk about that are publishing stuff are drawing manga non-stop all day long without masturbating or playing video games or working out or taking care of themselves. Which is something that, you know, I'm not doing if I'm taking the day off to play Diablo 4 and being like, this game isn't very good, you know. Shut the fuck up, Constrictor. Instant ramen heart attack, yeah. I'm trying to cut my weight further, actually. You should get a hot assistant to milk you while you draw. Smile. The only reason why I haven't timed out Constrictor yet is because there's not many people talking during this stream, so I need some amount of input on the chat side so I have something to talk about. Also, I don't want to be milked while I draw. That sounds stressful. I just talked about how having autism means I get stressed out when I have other people around me. You know, all this technological stuff came around at just the right time because if I wanted to be a mangaka back in the day, I would have to like live in this crowded, cramped apartment building with like 8 other people who are all drawing at the same time and shit like that. But nowadays, you don't need, everybody doesn't have to be cramped into the same room anymore. You can all do your assistant work online. You just pass the file back and forth between each other. So nobody actually has to be holed up in the same room with like 8 other guys sucking each other's dicks anymore. Thank God. It's not a lifestyle I would want to live. Chat is collectively balls hot assistant. It's a good thing I don't pay you any money because you haven't drawn shit. Chat, draw this background right now. I'll give you a photo to base this cathedral dome off of. Are you planning to print your story? Not this. I'm just preparing for printing in terms of learning the techniques required to draw in a way that keeps shit printable. I'm not actually going to print it. Self-publishing printing stuff in the Western market is a huge way to lose money and not recommended. It's basically just an ego trip thing, people who print. In Japan it's profitable, but not in the West. In the West, you have to go to a fucking convention and you printed like 100 copies of your shitty graphic novel and you sell 2 and you lose like $5,000 on the printing process. Feels good, man. In Japan, meanwhile, you have like doujin, professional doujin authors making more money than the quote-unquote other professionals who are working for publishing companies. It's a completely different situation. Best I can do is AI generated, good enough for Kengan Omega. Most Japanese backgrounds for manga, they don't even need to AI generate it, they can just use photos. The pro mode is you take a photo that you either took a photo of yourself or you use one of the free photos on the internet. You increase the contrast so that it's just like hard blacks and hard whites, and then like you draw over it. And for most people, that's good enough. Have you ever thought about getting your ass hair lasered? No. I can just yank it out with my fingers and enjoy the pain. The pain. Ass and taint torture. How do you even torture your taint? I guess there's a lot of ways to torture your taint. It just doesn't feel as prominent as other forms of, you know, ass torture. Do what Chris Chan did and split it open with a knife, that's one way. Was Chris Chan trying to give himself trans surgery without going to a proper doctor? Was he just like cutting himself a vagina? It seems a very Chris Chan thing to do. He found this one weird hack that the doctors hate for him to save lots of money. You know, I don't really feel bad about horrible shit that happened to Chris Chan or that Chris Chan did, but as humanity, maybe we should feel a little bit worse. Not me, I haven't interacted with him, but all of you guys might feel a little bit more responsible for the horrible shit that 4chan, or not 4chan, Chris Chan does to himself. I just think it's pretty obvious that Chris would have a way better life if he never had access to the internet, you know? He listened to trans subliminal hypnosis videos and thought he grew a vagina where his taint was, and so he split it open. This has to be Chris Chan's darkest timeline. It could be way darker than what it is, actually. This is Chris Chan we're talking about. It could be way worse. It can always be worse, guys. Never forget that. It's a miracle he never Diddy maxed. What do we consider to be Diddy maxing in this context? Diddy did a lot of things. I'm not sure what maxing would they would be. Also, a lot of the stuff that Diddy was doing was with other human beings, but Chris Chan has a lot of difficulty convincing another person to approach him, so I don't think he could Diddy max the way that Diddy was. The guy was failed by nature from birth, nightmare mode combo of boomer parents plus autism plus early internet derangement. Also, a lot of his problems come from his parents. He probably wouldn't have autism in the first place if he wasn't born so late, you know. Have kids at an earlier age, that's, well, that one can help. I was born really late as well. Society has pretended that women can be part of the workforce and wait until they're 40 before they have their kids, and there will be no negative consequences, but there clearly are. There's pretty obvious negative consequences. Women, have your children before it's too late. Don't assume everything will be fine. Parents had me at 38. Yeah, my mother had me like when she was 39, I think, 40. I can't remember. Like my missing kidney, LOL, LMAO. Some tech bro is working on artificial wombs. Elon can soon sleep soundly again. Yes, Elon has to inseminate the maximum amount of women. And the artificial wombs is the only way to do it. My mom had my brother at 37. He's a straight up doctor. It's not a 100% chance that you're going to be on the TISM scale. You're just playing with percentages. You might luck out. Or you might get in the TISM zone. Who knows? 40 is obviously late. I don't know. I feel like we peak physically around 27 based on watching the NBA and stuff. 27 is when you have like both maximum technical skill and knowledge, and then also your body hasn't started to deteriorate much yet. So that's probably a good time to have a kid as well if we're going to treat this shit seriously. I mean, if Leonardo DiCaprio thinks any woman above age 25 is too old for him and he dumps his girlfriend at 25, then maybe the guy's onto something. DraftKings birth disability parlay soon. What's your favorite gambling website, fellow American bros? Do you like DraftKings or FanDuel more? Holy shit, I get so many casino ads. That's like another thing that when we look back to this era, I think people will be like, what the fuck were people thinking? How the hell did everybody think in 2025 back then that there would be no negative societal consequences for having $1 billion worth of casino ads put in front of every single human being 1,000,000 times? Surely this will not create horrible gambling addictions and societal consequences that will fuck with people long run. When's Uma Musume streamed? I'm not gonna stream gacha, you stupid fucking gacha cucks. Holy shit, shut the fuck up. You want Uma Musume streams? Fine, I'll give you an Uma Musume stream right fucking now. You know what happened to my goddamn YouTube algorithm thanks to Uma Musume? It's just like fucking horse videos now. This is all I get now. Fucking horse video after horse video. When the horse finds, what do you call those in English? The little cattail things. He's like, it's time to fucking eat. Let's go. It must be fun being a horse and just being able to walk around and like there's shit growing and you can just eat all of it. It's like the equivalent if like as an American we could walk around and there's just like McDonald's growing out of the ground. Must be fucking awesome. Just like there's a chicken McNuggies everywhere. Look at him go. Horse is like, yeah, bitch. Here. Eat it. Fucking eat it, you stupid fucking horse. That's right. Eat the leaf. Eat the other leaf. That doesn't look like a thoroughbred right there, but maybe it is. I don't know. This is my entirety of YouTube now. It's just like horses eating shit. A horse, a whole horse, wait a fucking minute. Is that a JoJo reference? No, it's not a JoJo reference. Diddy Gunners ruined horses for me. Not everything is a Diddy core, you know. Being one of those retired stallions that just gets to fuck mirrors all day sounds pretty awesome. You only get to do that if you were successful in life. So even if you were a horse, you wouldn't get to fuck mares all day. I'm sorry, that's not how it works. They don't let you go and breed other females if you didn't win a shit ton of races, dumbass. It's just like in real life, in which if you're Tom Brady, you get to go and have sex with hot women or something. I don't know. I don't know if he's actually doing that. Tom Brady might be done with his women having sex with period of his life. I'm not sure. But the NBA player who hasn't won a single game doesn't get all the bitches. If you're like, yeah, I didn't make it out of, I was a great player during high school, isn't gonna get you, you know, the top 2% of mayors. If I was a horse, I'd be a donkey that gets put down. I mean, even if you are a successful thoroughbred racehorse, the chances of you just like breaking your leg and getting put down is super high as well. At least we can know as human beings that they aren't gonna fucking murder us just because our leg broke. As soon as these horses break their leg, they just get put down, so not great. Haru Urara losing 113 races in a row. True, but she's still alive. Also, a lot of horses don't like to breed with females. It's actually a lot of work to both get the females ready and then like the male horse ready, and a lot of these horses are like, no, I don't want to fuck it. Also, how do we know that these female horses are sexy? They're just mares that are based on their like good running genetics. Maybe the reason these stallions don't want to have sex with them is because they're equivalent of like a 4 out of 10. And they're like, no, I don't want to have sex with it. And then the owners are like, no, you have to leave your genetics. It's like, no, I want to have sex with Stacy. Like, sorry, Stacy isn't fast enough. We forget about all this important information in our horse fantasies. What if it isn't a sexy horse, you know? I think females will actively kick the males in the dick to get them to fuck them. Or possibly the opposite, I don't know. They get CBT for free, what a sick joke. You know, you can get CBT for free yourself if you just punch yourself in the dick. Think about that. That's hundreds of dollars worth of CBT that you can get for free just by torturing your cock and balls by yourself. No middleman needed. Same with lionesses that bit the male's balls while they were in heat. Please don't bite my testicles, guys. It won't make me hornier. Middle of the road horses actually get to fuck like you say. It's like when you have a genetic masterpiece horse which actually manifested all the right phenotypes that are condemned to the Skynut life. We really out here talking about horses fucking, huh? I actually saw a video of Gold Ship. Not where he actually get to fuck, but they were videotaping him leaving the stable. and his dick was fully out, and because like he knew what his job was, and as he was leaving the stable, he was rearing up like 3 times in a row going, "Let's fucking go! Let's go!" Oh! He was getting so pumped up. And then they were videotaping him like 3 minutes later when he came back, and his dick was back inside his body, and he was just like completely drained of all energy, and was like, "Yep, I'm done." So yeah, the meme horse was memeing with his sex duties as well, it seems. Do you think human females will evolve a heat response when birth rates plummet enough? I kind of do, actually. I think an interesting study will see what happens to birth rates in Russia and Ukraine after they stop fighting each other. And see if, like, women have, like, 4 or 5 kids. Like, after World War II. That would confirm my theory that birth rates are inherently tied to, like, people's survival instinct to replace the population. If you look at the places that have high birth rates right now, all of them are in, you know, really shitty places where you can expect people to die in horrible ways. So my theory is that there's just like a sort of energy to develop economies in first world countries where people kind of know that they're not going to die in a horrible way, or their kids aren't going to die, so they don't want to have as much sex. And life has to get shitty for the birth rates to go back up. Women all outnumbered men in the Soviet Union after World War II, so that experiment has sort of happened. Yeah, but I'm talking more in like modernity. Birth rates hadn't gone down back then. There was a huge baby boom. You might have heard of it. The baby boomers after World War II in every country. But we haven't had a situation where there's a location that has a relatively developed economy. Whether Ukraine and Russia count as developed economies is questionable, but it's the closest we have. We can't really use Africa as like a theory to test regarding this. Like, if birth rates go up in Rwanda after there's like the 18th genocide, that doesn't really mean much, right? It's always shitty in Africa. But if birth rates spike in Ukraine after the war is over and men come back, then that will confirm my theory that basically life has to become really shitty for people having kids again. Birth rates are tied especially to child mortality rates. True. But I think birth rates will go up, because there was a period in which child mortality rates were really low, already low after like World War II, and birth rates hadn't crashed the way they have right now. I think it's beyond just like a conscious decision that all my kids have died because they got polio or something, so I have to have more kids. I think it has more to do with just like the whole state of society, and a lot of it is happening on a subconscious level. Russia has never actually recovered its population. Well, I'm not saying the population will recover, because, you know, even if you have higher birth rates, if there's fewer people, that won't necessarily recover the population. But I do think the birth rates might go back up if there's this type of traumatic shit. I think we're in for hard times again, triggering another boom. I don't know. I think there would have to be like massive economic collapse for birth rates to go back up, honestly. It's much harder to make real human connections now, and even then, way less people want to. I don't think that's the internet is the reason, though. Because like all these African countries that still have extremely high birth rates, they have the internet and shit like that. They have cell phones. They can watch fucking anime. It's definitely not anime's fault. Japan had awful birth rates way before the internet. Yes, that too. Japan also had awful birth rates when their feminism isn't very like progressed as well. So Japan has like, I think Japan has the most number of like stay-at-home wives among the developed world or something. It's way up there. And a lot of Japanese women who go out to work are only doing it temporarily. But their birth rates have still crashed. So I really do think it's like this sort of combined sauce of first world countries. There's like a societal economic sauce of a bunch of different factors. Like when people don't feel like they're about to get murdered by a tiger, they don't feel like having a bunch of children. Is how I look at it. Cabaret clubs. Cabaret clubs don't let you to do the fucking. It sucks. I feel like cabaret clubs are one of the ultimate symbols of modern society, honestly, of like a developed economy, a first world country. Because it's all about, instead of like the base instincts of like fucking and stuff, it's all about being like, oh, you're so cool, that type of shit, so. Hello? What the fuck is going on here? Oh, I see. I see what's going on. Yeah. Speaking of birth rate, show Aubrey. No, this is the Xana page. I hope there's legitimate people fighting over which girl they like better in my manga. That's all I really want. Is people having Ayanami versus Asuka arguments about the girls. That's when I know I will have succeeded. When people hate the other camp. Actually, after doing this much, I realize I have made a mistake. We're not going to do that. BB needs to make Aubrey's breast bigger. She needs to be triple letters. There will be a swimsuit issue soon. Then we will have... Aubrey is like a D cup. Xana is like a C cup. Xana's boobs look bigger than they actually are because she's pushing them up in her corset. She's a fucking liar, like most elves are. Don't trust the elves, they're liars. Rem or Ram debate. That one did not take off. Someone is pointing that out. It most definitely did not take off. Oh. I like how suddenly there's like 30 messages in chat when I started talking about boobs. Everyone's like, breasts? Is he talking about breasts? Guys, this is a topic that I happen to be an expert on. Hold on. I must participate in the discussion. For the true boob content, we have Xana's mother, Boobest. The mom is always the best option, as usual. I can't really think of a modern anime equivalent for Rei versus Asuka, to be honest. We haven't had, like, monoculture anime centered around males' desires for their emotionally absent dommy mommy clone girlfriend versus their emotionally abusive Germanic mommy correction needed annoying brat girlfriend. Two sides of the same coin, and the coin is mental illness. Sasuke versus Naruto. Are you saying that the Sakura versus Hinata debate hasn't taken off? No, that cannot be true. Guys, who is a better girl, Sakura or Hinata? Definitely a fair fight right there. Ino, everyone wants to fuck the blonde. Ino-chan. Sakura was a dumb bitch. Wrong. She still is a dumb bitch. Remember, the Naruto story is still going on in Boruto Naruto Next Generations. Boruto's dad's son sucks too. Who's the hottest girl in Naruto, guys? And don't say Tsunade, you fucking boob coomers. Jesus Christ. Stop being like, I don't care about anything else. I just want big fat milky titties in my face. Raikage. Raikage, main character of every porn of all time. The Fox. I remember there's that one girl in the Sasuke pursuing arc that showed up for like 5 seconds that got like her own porn doujin from multiple porn authors. I think she was like called, yeah, I think it was Tayuya. I can't really remember her name. Yeah, it's Tayuya. There were a lot of Japanese Kumers who were out for this girl. There was a lot of overlap between like monster fucking, loli fucking, Ryona, Guro chads. A lot of different fetishes getting triggered by this one. You should give Xana some fishnets. Fishnets are a pain in the ass to draw, and if you're going to use the already existing patterns instead, then they look they don't curve around the body shape. So I don't know. It's kind of difficult. As once again, this panel doesn't have enough black on it. There are parts of the page that I don't want to make darker, but I definitely have to make them darker. I think I need to add a bunch of shadows, hard dark shadows probably. That's how I want to go around this. Shadows are very helpful when trying to figure out how to add black areas. So we're just gonna add some black here, I guess. I don't know. Look great. I guess it's enough, probably. Fishnets don't look good unless you do the skin dentation right, the way some body parts are stretched by the body. Yeah, you guys want me to draw faster and get this out faster. Asking me to draw like proper skin dentation thighs is not the way for me to draw faster, for sure. I can obsess over that shit for hours, so I need to be figuring out easier costumes to draw instead of harder ones to draw. This feels wrong. I might have to come back to this. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think if you weren't lazy, you'd be able to draw it all in an hour with perfect detail. My uncle could do that back in the day. I can't. I just use my superpower called AI prompting, which is just as valid as traditional artists. It's the new form of artistry. AI prompters are just like real artists, guys. Traditional art will go extinct soon. You guys are all just Luddites. You're thinking that the buggy will never replace horses. Will female Grok make an appearance in your manga? No. We'll instead have extremely gay male Grok. I don't know. Stop talking about female Grok. It's obvious that none of you guys have actually messed around with female Grok. You just read like some like news article about it. You're only allowed to talk about female Grok in this chat if you actually have touched it, okay? Will you ever include a beach episode? I already said that there's gonna be a beach episode like coming up very soon. How about onsen episode? Maybe. Beach episode is more important. Beach episode is easier to censor the nipples and vagina. No, we're not having gender swap. I don't have time for that. Also, I don't want to get as labeled as anti-trans, but really all the gender politics of the post-LGBTQ era has kind of spoiled all the fun out of having gender bender content. It's absolutely impossible to have it not stepping into the like the political conversation with having like body swapping and stuff in 2025. Considering the platform I'm on in Twitter, I don't want to touch any of that shit with a 10-foot pole. Ball including black bars in his future porn commission for authenticity. Yes. Thanks to these tiny ass black bars covering a part of the head of the penis, it's impossible to understand what's going on. There might be sex happening, but there might not. This censorship bar is doing so much work, guys. I have no idea what's happening. Bowsette was sort of the last normal gender bender, let's have fun thing before trans politics truly took over the internet. I'm straight, therefore if it makes my pee-pee hard, it has to be a woman. I can start drawing curves on this page and tell me when your penis starts to get hard, okay? Is this enough? How about this? Can you coom to this line? How about now? This is a curvy one, boys. Once we've gotten this far, it's already too late. 90% of the Coomers are already just full in Cooming mode. Actually, I think I got the positioning wrong. I guess this is like the maximum. This has already been done online. Like someone drew some Coomer lines before, and people were like, "Whoa." So I guess the Y is all we really need here. This could be any number of things, but if we put lines here, it can be the legs. If we go like this, now it's boobs. But you know what it actually is? Go, Caterpie! I can't remember what the Caterpie looked like. I think it was like this. It definitely had like something like this on its head. I can't remember. Man, when I make the eyes really black, it sort of immediately starts to look like the Chainsaw Man. I feel like, what do you call it? Puchta Chainsaw Man was heavily underused. Chainsaw Man has a lot of good ideas, and they never really fully utilized, I feel. They have to go on to the next thing. Should have just been non-stop Puchta content. Alright, I know how I'm going to make this page darker. I'm going to add some more lines. That's always the solution to everything. Hashtag just add more lines. Do it. I'm going to go like this. Good thing there's a million layers that I can put on. Just gonna add a parallel line ruler. I'll just go like this. From what I've read from part 2, it really does feel like Fujimoto is going through the motions. Maybe it's good now. It's at a climax, but it seems to still be all over the place. I don't really think he's going through the motions. I think it's more like he doesn't know what he has to do, honestly. I think people assume that when a manga or a story in general becomes bad, it's because of a lack of motivation, but usually it's just because, like, I think the author just doesn't know what they're supposed to do. I feel like a lot of the reason why Berserk kind of became paused indefinitely wasn't just because, like, the environments were taking a million hours to draw and shit. It was because Miura just didn't know, you know, how to end the story. He had written himself into a corner. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the post-Miura part of Berserk will do just fine, but I don't think he actually knew how to properly end the story. Now that Griffith is like a god. Will your manga feature a not-so-subtle authorial self-insert like Stephen King's Dark Tower trilogy? They're all self-inserts. They're all different aspects of my personality except Xana. There's no part of Xana in me. Xana is pure girl, and I have like no female personality, but Aubrey and Will have... Will is like the autism part of my personality, and Aubrey is the, I don't know, screaming comedic part of my personality. You are a heart drow. I said there's nothing in Xana that is relevant to me. The opposite, dumbass. There is no hot drow in me at all. Which part of you is Grok? The part of me that wants to drink alcohol and lift heavy objects. I'm not very good at either of them, but that doesn't mean I don't have that in my personality. Deep down, I too wish I could drink alcohol and lift heavy objects. That's what it means to be a man. Stephen King definitely self-inserted in that scene in It. I don't know. If I was writing a self-insert, I wouldn't want to have to share the local tomboy with like 4 of my friends. That's cringe. I would like to have her all for myself, unless Stephen King was self-inserting as the female character. Which scene? When someone says that scene in It, it can only mean one thing. And it's the scene in which, at the end of like part 1, they have to have a gangbang sex of the tomboy girl in order to, I don't know, purge the energies of the evil thing or whatever. It makes no fucking sense, like most of Stephen King. But nobody actually questions it. Stephen King readers are worse than JoJo readers, honestly, when it comes to tolerating horrible plot. They're just like along for the ride, and they don't give a single fuck if none of that shit makes no sense. I think 1408 was pretty good, the movie at least. Is that a JoJo reference? Honestly, it could be, the entirety of it could just be like a JoJo, a chapter in JoJo. They're just like Nandato, our quaint little town. Something is wrong with it. We're being attacked by an enemy stand. My stand, Pennywise, allows me to shapeshift into whatever you find most terrifying. Some shit like that. I know, I'll make my own self-insert in my own version of Misery. Except instead of the woman being horrifying, I'll make her be a cute yandere who, instead of breaking my legs and tying me to a bed so I will continue to write the story, she will not break my legs but still tie me to the bed because she loves me. and not let me go unless I promise to impregnate her. She will be like, your online manga is so amazing. Now I must have your children. Man is a paranormal researcher who gets trapped in an evil hotel room that tries to make him kill himself. He beats it by burning the whole room with himself in it. If this was J-horror, the room would manifest in a way of a spooky, sexy Japanese woman, and the only way he would be able to beat it would be to have sex with her. Classic J-horror spooky story. The only way I can defeat this sexy ghost is by fucking it. No wonder the birth rate is so far down in Japan. They're all having sex with ghosts. Not the sexy haunted love hotel. That would be horrible, haha. Alright, let's add... This might be too many. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many pentagons I want here. It's a little noisy. This type of stuff is shit that I wish I had, like, a shoujo manga style assistant to figure this shit out for me. Have you really beaten the horror just by burning down the hotel? If this is J-horror, what usually happens is they pretend like you beat it the first time, and then, like, it turns out in the spooky twist at the end that they hadn't beat it at all. And then you get a nice bad end, is how J-horror usually does it. I might have to go online and actually download some other... I've been finding for this type of kira... I've been looking for the right kind of kira kind of tool. Like shoujo manga style tool. Screen tone tool. For so long, and I can never find one that truly satisfies me. It's so weird. There's a lot of ones that are like kind of good enough, but they're never like good enough for me. It's always like, no, it's not exactly what I want. Fuck. Alright, I'm gonna end the stream around here. See you around, guys. Good night. Oh, have a nice night, guys. Good night. Oh.